How to maximize, not make, your money in Project Diablo 2. There are two very successful, but two very different business models we should look at when trying to maximize how we spend our currency. Chick-fil-A and Five Guys are both American fast food establishments that have come to prominence as major market forces over the past 2 decades. Now, each establishment has a very different route to success. However, each maintains that success using the same formula. Stick to your fucking model. Five Guys is a burger joint that focuses on 2 things, dope-ass burgers and dope-ass fries, and regardless of the cost or time to prepare those items, Five Guys has consistently refused to cut corners on quality. One of the owners of the company was even asked why people should come to Five Guys for fast food when it takes them 15 to 20 minutes, the traditional time in an American sit-down restaurant, to prepare food. I'm paraphrasing, but the owner said, "Fuck them hoes, I make dope-ass burgers. Sit down and wait, or get the hell out." They made this model successful by sitting on it and refusing to franchise, the process of letting other people buy your model and use it themselves, until the market was begging them to deprivatize ownership so people could get in on the action. Fun fact too, I grew up playing baseball with the kids of one of the owners. These people knew they could have made hundreds of thousands of dollars franchising back in the early 2000s and just waited until they were so popular with like 10 locations that they made millions. The patience paid off, and as far as I know, the Murrells still live in their little middle-class home in Stafford, Virginia. These people were super successful because they had a plan, stuck to it, and then refused to deviate from their tried and true patience. Next is Chick-fil-A. Now famous for actually looking at dethroning other traditional fast food giants, it franchised early in its creation, but did so with a business model that is absolutely bonkers for anyone who knows anything about restaurants and franchising. You can only own one single location as a franchisee with Chick-fil-A. Why is that crazy? Well, restaurants have the smallest profit margins of almost any business, sitting somewhere around 10% profit if you have a baller of a general manager, a good kitchen staff, and experienced servers. And most of those people move into bigger roles if they're that good, so you lose your people. Chick-fil-A said, fuck that, you can only own one restaurant, so you're incentivized to run it like a mom and pop shop, and everyone has to do well and try their darndest to make everything perfect. You can't just write off costs of your underperforming restaurants with the success of your overperforming restaurants like every other franchise does. That's how food joints make their money. Have a shit ton of locations and make up for the losses at the bad locations. So anyone buying a Chick-fil-A franchise is either a good businessman or knows how to hire to make it good. The too long didn't read is one used patience and one used forced perfection. We can use these models for PD2 trading to maximize the wealth we already have. If you want to know how to build wealth at all, look up a guide on YouTube that just says, play the game. We're not here to do that. We want to maximize what we've already earned. So how do we apply the Five Guys model of patience? Well, the patience principle Five Guys applies to those super slams the lucky few of you get in the early season. If you have a +1 to skill Shaco, save it. Trust me, save it. First, almost any class can use that as a filler, if not best in slot, because 3 to skills helps almost anyone, and Shacos are great all around. But if we wait and let the market settle, that Burr rune might turn into 3, if we wait for the middle class to get rich and desperate enough for juicy, high-quality hamburgers, or Shacos. Can I help you? You're trying to get a charger. Okay, well, I'm trying to impress the dozens of people who will watch this video.
Well, I was trying to do it really silently until you pointed it out of people who couldn't even see what I was doing.
And now you're knocking things over.
So you can just fuck off.
Okay, video's fucking ruined. The video's over, guys. Anyway. Excuse me. Next, do not take an offer under what you asked for within the first 2 hours of posting a trade. This doubles if you get multiple offers. Savvy traders are always scanning the trade sites in Discord. I mean, hell, every time I leave a game, I update on the item I want on the trade site. If you posted 5 minutes ago and you get a message from me asking if you'll take Gull Ist for that Vex item, say no and wait. Keep your patience. So how do we apply that Chick-fil-A principle, though, of maximization? Well, let's do another example. Let's say I work at a law firm that charges $300 an hour. Over 40 hours a week and 50 work weeks a year. That means I'm making $600,000 a year as my salary, right? No, I'm making around $100,000 a year. $300 an hour, we skim 10% of that right off the top for non-payment from clients. We'll call that waste and make it 9.67 repeating percent to make the numbers work. Now we're down to $275 an hour. The overhead for keeping the lights on, rent of the office, paralegals, and client service coordinators is another $100. That's out the window just in operating costs. We lose another $75 depending on our business model, because if we're like an injury firm, we don't get paid when we lose. So now we're all the way down to $100 an hour. Take another $25 to $50 off for paying the owner of the firm, and you're at a profit of about $50 an hour over 2,000 hour work hours for $100,000 a year as an associate attorney. There you go. And that's not even set in stone, because clocking 40 full hours for an entire year is pretty difficult as an attorney. So how do we maximize what we're doing? Well, plan every transaction in PD2 for the above to occur, and replace those dollar signs with runes. $300 an hour turns into 3.0, or a burr rune you find. Take off a gull for the break cost to 2.75. Take one high rune off for upgrading your current gear, or overhead as we'll call it. Lose an ohm rune 0.75 on a P box, gambling on a good item, and it doesn't socket max, so you've lost that, but it was worth the gamble. And your remaining one high rune to spend on items to get your next rune, like bulk map items or keys or etc. So keep your measly remaining Vex or Gull as profit for a rainy day, and bam, you've just done the Chick-fil-A thing, and you've planned for every dollar to have loss and overhead built in. I just did this exact thing last night. I found a Sur rune, and instead of breaking it for its full worth of 1.5 high runes, which may have taken a day or two for someone to find me, because it's the middle of the week, I broke it at 1.3, and it took 15 minutes. I could have bought my big dig demon machine with that, but then I wouldn't have had any money for the jewels that need to go into it. So I broke it down, quick, effective. I bought skillers with life, that's my overhead, knowing I would need them later too. So I saved time spamming the trade site or making a trade game where you farm LOD content. I mean, how many times do you see IST for Vex 5 and these people are just wasting their time hoping for a deal? I saved all that time and got 2 hours of mapping back. And guess what? On my second map, I found a Zod rune. So I just made the overhead back by being efficient, having a plan, and taking into account my opportunity costs. So despite what you think of the world, the reality is businesses operate on efficiency, not greed. They are greedy, but they know they'll make more being efficient and not sweating the small stuff. This is why I hate price checks. Even if you have an item worth something, most people waste time trying to price it just right, and then they take the highest amount some moron said in a Reddit thread as the value and sit on it and waste time when they could plan and could have had this already baked into your strategy the whole time. Be patient, be efficient, and run your game like you're a sole proprietorship, a mom and pop shop that has to do things efficiently. Price the item 10% below market value and move on. Get back into maps or Ubers and make more money. Hell, this is why business law has provisions where if you had a monthly contract with someone for like 10 years and they send an email saying same as last month, if you don't respond, you have an enforceable contract. The courts will literally plug in numbers for price based on the market or previous contracts, because time is money. So apply these models, have a plan, break your runes low, spread out the break, upgrade your character, upgrade what you're doing with keys or maps or etc., save some and move on. You guys can do this. I believe in you.